You got to be a CPA to buy a CPA firm, right? Or do you? Okay, let's talk about exactly how you can buy a CPA firm without being a CPA. And as a thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing on this video, here's a picture of a really cute koala drinking his coffee, working really hard to get franchise taxes done by May 15th. Okay, so I kind of broke this out into more like bigger picture things and then practically, mechanically, how does that look? So to start off, bigger picture. Let's start off with the fact that you should be in the industry or have experience in the industry before you go down this route. Now, you don't have to know it all. You don't have to have 30 years of experience or anything like that. But I really recommend that you know the game, you know accounting, you know tax to a degree so you can at least have some familiarity with it. If you're not going to have industry experience, you need to go find a partner that's willing to work with you and offer that sort of experience. And I want to reiterate, you don't need to have 20, 30 years experience, but can you tell me you've been in the game for 3 or 4 years, 5 years, something like that? That's kind of where I would suggest that you start before we go down the rabbit hole of everything else. The second thing you have to do is actually get your foot in the door with these firm owners, with these CPA owners. Unfortunately, a lot of times, and I'm just being real with you guys, it's going to be very challenging if you're not a CPA to just get the conversation with the CPA owner. Now, for those of you that are serious about acquiring an accounting firm, I have a community, and one of the benefits of our members is that I will provide you verbiage that kind of talks about bringing on a CPA advisor into the conversation so that way you get your foot in the door. And this has worked out beautifully when it comes to our members who are not CPAs buying CPA firms. They get their foot in the door, take it all across the finish line. If you're interested in learning more about that, click the link in the description below. Number 3 is learning and knowing how to navigate the conversation once you get in your foot in the door. That conversation, there is way more than I can talk about in this video that you need to learn on how to build trust, how to build rapport, how to bring their walls down for them to trust you enough. Because look, you're already coming to the game without having that CPA license, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it makes it even more important for you to learn how to have that conversation and build all of that trust with them, bringing their walls down. So from a bigger picture standpoint, those are the things you need to be focused on. Have some experience or partner up with somebody, getting your foot in the door to even have the conversation with them. And then, of course, learning how to navigate that conversation and build trust with that firm owner. This is their baby, guys. I saw a firm the other day that's been open since 1959.
Let me tell you something. I don't need no practice management system. I don't need no tax dome. We've been doing tax returns on paper since 1959, and we've been doing just fine.
They're not just going to give this to anybody. This is their baby. This is another child to them. And whether you have a CPA license or not, you better learn how to build trust and rapport with them, because they're not giving their child to just anybody. Okay, now that was more bigger picture stuff. Now let's get into the logistics of this, the legalities of it. Practically, how does this look? I can tell you about one of our community members. His name is Brandon. He is not a CPA. He's an EA, and he acquired a CPA firm in our community.
Hi, what's going on, guys? My name is Brandon Madden. I recently closed on a 6-figure accounting firm. So it was about $739,500. We closed on it recently, so pretty cool deal. I joined CJ's community, and before joining the program, I didn't even think it was possible to do or acquire a firm for $0 down. However, CJ showed me a very, very, very easy technique to acquire the funds to actually go ahead and get your down payment, right? And so it was for $0 out of my personal pocket. I'm not a CPA, but what CJ really helped do was kind of ease things over with the current CPA firm owner and the broker, which sometimes is a roadblock for a lot of people if you're not a CPA. You don't necessarily have to be a CPA to acquire a CPA firm, and there's definitely ways around that we learned in the program. CJ jumped on the initial call with the seller, and then that was really a huge win for us there. I would definitely recommend anyone to join CJ's Acquire Firm family. And yeah, I mean, today was day 2 at my new firm. Really excited. And so you guys can do it too. I wasn't a millionaire before. I might be a millionaire now. So definitely join CJ's program.
Here's how it looked. Here's how we had to do it with him. We had to get Brandon his foot in the door. That was with the verbiage that we gave him, the credibility that we gave him. We had to get Brandon the conversation. I jumped on there with him. Now, how does all this look like on paper? I think the law for most states is that a CPA or CPAs have to own 51% or more of the firm if the word CPA is in the marketing firm name. So if it says John Smith CPA and you're not a CPA, you cannot leave CPA in your firm name. The second thing, logistically and practically, is that you can no longer offer audits, what they call attestation services, compilations, reviews, and stuff like that. These are things that you cannot offer if you are not a CPA legally, right? I don't want anybody out there getting in trouble offering services that you shouldn't be offering. But here's a little secret for you. I'm a CPA and I don't offer any of those audit services anyway. It sucks. Between increasing insurance expense, which is, they call it E&O, errors and omissions, and the fact that the peer reviews, you have to get peer reviews done, I think it's every 2 or 3 years, something like that. Those are increasing as well. And I can tell you, I've probably talked to over 60 firm owners across the country at this point that want to sell. I've seen their books. I've seen their financials. Most of these people, I'd say audit services or attestation services are probably less than 3 to 5% of the overall revenue. So in general, we are not even talking about a material chunk of revenue that would disappear. So don't let that bug you or bother you that, oh, I can no longer offer audit services. Honestly, who cares? I can and I don't. You're not missing out on anything, trust me. So those are the things logistically that you have to watch out for when you're acquiring. Now, I'm going to give you a little bonus. Bonus track. When we are acquiring firms, we actually like to keep the firm name the same. So if it's John Smith CPA, I want to keep it John Smith. However, you got to drop it, right? So what we do is we will take your acquiring entity. Let's say it's CJ LLC. That's what I'm acquiring the firm with. That's the entity that I'm acquiring with. However, I'm going to DBA, which a DBA stands for doing business as. Basically, you can have an entity doing business as another name. I'm going to DBA into something very similar to John Smith CPA. The things that we like to do is maybe John Smith Bookkeeping and Tax, John Smith and Associates, something along those lines to where the clients don't feel like there's been some major disruption or acquisition happening. The last thing you want to do, and I know this is getting into like client retention and stuff like that. If you want me to talk more about client retention, drop a comment down below and say client retention, and I'll make a video about that. But client retention is preserved when it feels like nothing has changed. So going from John Smith CPA to John Smith and Associates, it doesn't feel like there's been this massive change. It almost feels like we're adding horsepower to the firm. My motto in terms of acquisitions is to try and not rock the boat as much as you can. Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
let it go, let it run, and let that revenue still come in like nothing ever happened. So those are the ways, guys, step by step on how, if you don't have a CPA license, it's okay. Don't feel like it's the end of the world. You can still go acquire these firms. And I'm telling you, we have members that are not CPAs acquiring CPA firms. You just got to know all the right steps. By the way, guys, if you want to learn 5 different ways on how to acquire an accounting firm for no money out of your own pocket, comment 5 down below. I have a 90-minute case study, way more than you even care to watch, on exactly how to go about acquiring a firm for no money out of your own pocket. It's exactly the steps that I used. You can use it too. I also talk about some really recent SBA updates that just came out that make acquiring an accounting firm a whole lot easier. Comment 5 and I'll shoot that over to you. And remember, it's a cruel world, but we're better together. We'll see you later.